We have so assaulted the female feeling of chosenness and infinite value and uniqueness. You know, I started writing about human relationships, talking about it on TV 25 years ago. The art of being a successful television guest is to watch the facial expressions of the host, because they have something in their ear where the producers speak to them and tell them to go to a break. Now, there's two kinds of breaks in television. There's a hard break, where on the hour or there's a hard break, they have to go to a commercial, even if they're cut off in mid-sentence. Then there's a soft break, where the host can control whether or not there's time. Now, if you watch their facial expressions, you'll know the difference between a hard break and a soft break, because you don't have that little earpiece in your ear. So I'm on Canadian TV about 3 weeks ago, promoting my new book, Kesher Luncheon. And the woman, I've been on her show before, she's about 50, and she's beautiful. And I'm trying to get signals. She says to me, Shmuley, your new book seems to be a departure from your other kosher series. There must be a reason you wrote it. And I'm thinking, question? Statement? I'm looking for her to move her eyebrows. I'm looking for any kind of facial tick. For goodness sake, move your eyebrows. God help me, please. Should I respond or not? But this beautiful, innocent woman could not move her eyebrows. From her hairline to here, she was immobile. And I said to myself, honestly, this is a woman who's university educated, master's degree. She's a phenomenal educator, relationship counselor, national TV host. And I said to myself, what kind of culture will assault a woman to such a degree that they will make her feel that she has to take a needle and shove it into her head? Take a needle and shove it into her head! Let alone putting all kinds of other things into her body, taking out of her body. That's quite an assault, my friends. That's quite an assault on female chosenness. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's all cover and no book. And you know what it's led to? It's led to a remarkable phenomenon. For the first time in history, women are getting tired of being made to feel inadequate by men, so that for the first time ever, there is a phenomenon that contradicts everything we were taught as children. When I was a kid, I was taught that every girl prays for the prince to come and kiss her on the cheek. I don't know if he's a frog or some other reptile. And then he changes and he carries her off on a white steed into the happily ever after. And now we have a totally new phenomenon, which I'm going to demonstrate right now. I'm going to ask the women in this audience a very specific question. Listen carefully, because it's a specific, precise question. If you are a woman in this audience, please raise your hand if you need a man. Now, before you do, I did not ask you to raise your hand if you can stomach a man. I did not ask you to raise your hand if you can survive a man. I want you to raise your hand if you need a man. Raise your hands, please. Okay. Just look around the room. Look around the room. Wait 1 second. This table in front of me, phenomenal peer pressure. One woman started. By the way, there's a man raising his hand in the back of the room. Live and let live. Raise your hand, baby. No problem with me. I know that here in America we debate gay marriage day and night, and people say that gays are destroying marriage, and I always remind my heterosexual male friends that the only men in America who still want to get married are all gay. Like, they're all petitioning the Supreme Court to get married. Meanwhile, the straight guys are dating their girlfriends for 500 years. But I want to demonstrate to you, about 6 women raised their hand out of a few hundred who are here. What's your name? You have dark hair, you're all the way in the back. What's your name? Yes. What's your name? Marla. Hi, Marla. Did you see how you raised your hand? Can I show you? Do you mind if I do an instant replay? This is what you did. I said, raise your hand if you need a man. You went. Until you eventually put it down. As if I asked, raise your hand if you have a venereal disease. I mean, was it so embarrassing what I asked? Like you were ashamed? Okay, so five and a half women in this audience need a man. Now I'm gonna follow up with another question. Raise your hand if you need a refrigerator. Raise your hand if you need a refrigerator. Okay, gentlemen, time to go. Exit stage right. Now, why is it, so 6 women need a man. By the way, 4 of those women are sitting next to their husbands. Good answer. You don't have to fight about the speech tonight, right? So 6 women need a man, about 100 need a refrigerator. Why would you acknowledge a dependency on a piece of metal that can cool your milk rather than a warm piece of flesh that can electrify your heart? Answer? Because GE brings good things to life, right? By the way, people always say to me, be fair. If you're going to ask the women if they need a man, ask the men if they need a woman. I've tried this, it doesn't work. Because what the men hear is, who wants sex right now? And it never works. So isn't that incredible? The basic foundation of the male-female bond of attraction is eroding, and women are becoming more financially independent, even emotionally independent, even procreatively independent, because they don't feel chosen by men. They don't feel that their essential feminine need is being addressed. Isn't that why so many members of our community feel detached from communal institutions like shuls and schools? It's not because no one educated them or invited them to shul. It's because no one made them feel special. We all go where we feel unique. You know, I spoke at this luncheon 15 years ago. I have a special needs child. I have a nephew and a niece who studied at Kesher. To make a child feel that special programs were set up for them, not because they're special needs, because take away the needs, because they're special, because anything that was required, the Jewish community was there for them, that they were never just a little square peg that was shoved into a round hole, that we accommodated them and made them feel like they were of infinite value. There is nothing more memorable. And the test of our morality, and the test of our Ahavas Yisrael, the test of our commitment to one another comes specifically to our dedication to those kids. To those kids. When I was hosting Shalom in the Home, TLC comes to me and says, you got to do a network upfront. What's a network upfront? Well, you have to go upfront in front of the advertisers. You have to get them to buy into your show. If Campbell's Soup and SeaWorld doesn't want to advertise on your show, you're off the air. I said, how long do I have? I said, 30 seconds? Oh God, you give a rabbi 30 seconds? Ladies and gentlemen, I walked in front of the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. 2,000 people, all of whom controlled vast advertising budgets, online advertising, television advertising, radio advertising, and I had 30 seconds. It was like a factory. All of Discovery, TLC, Animal Planet, they're all owned by Discovery Networks. All of their hosts had to sell their show. I got up there and I said, you're all very successful people. Measured by the barometer of financial success, you're all very successful people. And you control millions and millions of dollars. And my show is about something very simple. Are you a success in life? If the people who mean the most to you think the least of you. Are you a success in life if the 100 people you control at Procter & Gamble's marketing department worship you, fear you, pay homage to you, and the moment you come home, your kid won't take off his iPhone earbuds to even hear what you have to say because you have no relationship with him. And I guarantee you, I don't care if you spend $200 million that day, if your own child doesn't want a relationship with you, you're going to feel like crap. Like you're a failure and a loser. Our connection with our children is not part of our life. It's not an aspect of our existence. It is everything, my friends. And how we treat our children in the community is everything. Isn't that the biggest problem today with the state of Israel? How many Jews treat Israel like an inadequate child, which if it just behaved itself a little better and earned more support from the world community of public opinion, we might get behind it a little bit more. It's like a bit of a petulant child. I go to Australia, and I'm there promoting my new book. And sure enough, this past Saturday, as I'm speaking to 1,000 people in a shul in Melbourne, people come in and they're all murmuring that the immediate past Foreign Minister of Australia, Bob Carr, who was also the president of the largest state in Australia, New South Wales, launched a vicious and vituperative attack on Israel, calling it an apartheid state, saying that Israel is guilty of atrocities and human rights abuses, war crimes. And I was incensed. And I got up and I jumped my speech and I said, 1,000 Melbourne Jews sitting in front of me, what will you do about it? I am tired of us Jews being made to feel like we've done something and have to earn our right to live in this world. I am tired of one nation not being allowed to defend itself. I am tired of one country being held to a perpetual double standard. I am tired of one nation, the only democracy, the bastion of human rights, though that one place where Arabs enjoy the same freedoms that we Westerners enjoy. I am tired of always feeling like I have to earn the right to simply live. Only one nation has ever been told that they're not special inherently. They don't have Jesus enough. They bear the mark of Satan. They're parasitical. There's something wrong with you Jews. If you just cleanse, convert maybe. We were told that. With Hitler, we couldn't even do that. To purge ourselves of our own inner ugliness, we couldn't even do that. And what can Israel do today? You know, I'm sitting with one of the richest men in Australia 3 or 4 days ago. Someone who I knew from England, who was an Oxford student, who went on to become very successful. And he says to me, Netanyahu just doesn't get it. If he just did this and this and this, and then everyone would love him. I said to him, really? If Israel just did this and this and this, it's done it 1,000 times. It agreed to the 1936 Peel Commission partition. The Arabs didn't. It agreed to the 1947 UN partition plan. The Arabs didn't. It gave back all of Sinai in the 1956 campaign. The Arabs rejected it. It offered all the conquered lands of 1967 back to Moshe Dayan 4 days after the war. The Arabs responded in Khartoum and Sudan. The 3 no's, no recognition, no peace, no negotiations. I could go on. It's done it. There is nothing we can do to purge that mark of Cain other than unite, be strong, and know that there is nothing wrong with us. We must somehow purge ourselves of the disease of self-hatred, which infects a minority community when it is subjected to millennia of abuse, when you start thinking that, God, there must be something wrong with us. I'm tired of eating stupid jokes that non-Jewish women are sexier than Jewish women. That's a bunch of crap. And we have to even stop telling stupid jokes like that. That all these men who marry outside the community, Jewish women are gorgeous and beautiful. We have to stop believing there's anything wrong with Israel. God Almighty, Israel is the single most majestic, righteous nation with the greatest freedoms with any country facing a similar risk, similar danger. I could not be more proud of Israel. I wouldn't change a hair on its head. In fact, no country's perfect. It's run by imperfect, fallible humans. But God Almighty, if you're not proud of Israel fully, completely, with every strand of DNA in your being, then you have no morality. And the same thing is true of our kids. I'm tired of Jewish inadequacy. I am no less than anyone, and I am no better than anyone, but I am no less than them. Let us make every child feel that they are the one and the only. Let us make every child feel that they will have earned an equal opportunity in the Jewish community now and always. Let them know that the money we earn is for them. That we Jews have never made the mistake of living to work. Rather, we work to live. We bestow the bounty of our blessings on the community. I am so honored to be at a Kesher Luncheon. I can feel the love and the warmth in this room. It's so beautiful for me to be back in South Florida where I grew up. You are the most generous Jewish community on planet Earth. The number of causes you sustain is limitless and mind-boggling. You should take so much pride in who you are. I want to conclude. When I was a young student, because I'm coming to my 90 minutes, when I was a young student, the Lubavitcher Rebbe sent me to Jerusalem to study as a rabbinical student. He would later send me to Sydney, Australia, to open a rabbinical college with 9 colleagues. That's how I ultimately married my wife, who's from Australia and who's here today, my wife Debbie. I must, of course, welcome a woman who is largely responsible for nearly everything that I am. I say nearly because she's not responsible for the bad stuff. There isn't any, is what you were supposed to say. My mother raised me as a single mother here in Miami. As a single mother, she put me through Jewish day school. As a single mother, she worked 2 jobs to afford Jewish education. Big problem in our community. People can't afford it, so kids don't get a Jewish education. I would not be a rabbi today. I would have very little to give back to the Jewish community were it not for her sacrifice. And then, from the age of about 9, I fell in love with the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who showed me an inordinate amount of personal affection. And took an interest in my education. So I went to Jerusalem. I was in the Chabad Yeshiva. And every Friday, I used to go out, and I used to put on tefillin with the soldiers on Rehov Ben Yehuda. Now, if you know Rehov Ben Yehuda, it's on an incline. So I would stand at the top, which was like a catchment area. No one's going to get past me. One day, one soldier walks by, and he's holding a pita in his right hand. And I say to him, Sicha chayal enachta tefillin hayom. Excuse me, soldier, have you put on tefillin today? And he said, Ma, אתה מבקש ממני להניח תפילין, ואני כאן אוכל בשר לבן. I'm eating pork in this pita, and you're asking me to put on tefillin. So I said to him, no big deal, because you're eating pork with your right hand, we put tefillin on with our left hand. And I quickly pulled up his, put on tefillin with him. Every Friday, there was a man who I can picture even as I say it to you. Every Friday, there was a man in jeans and a white t-shirt. Long hair to his shoulders. He would sit there just eating gardenim, eating sunflower seeds every Friday for like 2 hours. And he'd watch me. First week he didn't speak. After a few weeks he started to speak, monosyllables. Then, very secularly, he started pointing out people. You missed that soldier, that soldier. He became my wingman. And yet, he never put tefillin on himself. I would ask him politely. I didn't want to ruin this fledgling relationship, and he would never give. For 2 years, I saw him honestly nearly every single Friday like clockwork. At the end of 2 years, it was time for me to come back to the United States to study in New York. So I went to him and I said to him, this is my last Friday, my last Shabbat in Jerusalem. We've become dear friends. You've gotten hundreds of soldiers to put on tefillin, and yet you've never done it yourself. I'm asking this one time for me. Put on tefillin. I'll never forget what he said to me, and it haunts me as a rabbi till today. He said to me, I can't and I won't, even for you, and I consider you a dear friend. I said, well, why? He said, from the time I was a child, my parents tried to get me to keep religion, and all I was taught was all the things I was not keeping. I was always made to feel that I was somehow spiritually inadequate. I didn't keep Shabbat well enough. I didn't pray well enough. I didn't eat matzah on Passover well enough. There was always something I wasn't doing enough, and it just robbed me of my happiness. And now, for the first time, I have a clear conscience. I feel like I'm a decent enough person. And if I put on tefillin with you this time, I'm going to regret that I'm not putting it on next time. And the whole cycle will begin again. And I've spent years just trying to love myself. My friends, let Judaism tell us that we're enough. Let Judaism tell us that we are
adequate. Let Israel shine without feeling guilty that it must defend itself. Let every Jewish child feel that there is no such thing as being special needs, but just special. Let us never make Jewish inadequacy, changing our names, denying our ethnicity. Let it never be a birthright. Let it never be an inheritance of dysfunction. Let our Yiddishkeit tell us that we are enough. Dayenu, that everything that is within us is enough. That our wives are beautiful enough. That our husbands are successful enough. That our children are educated enough. Enough of not being enough. Judaism must be a celebration of happiness. It must be a revelation of joy. And above all else, it must be a source of light that illuminates all the tiny, dark spaces of our heart. Thank you very much.
I want to point out that at your table, everyone has a list of Golden Guardians and Silver Guardians. We're very grateful. We're very happy it's such a long list. We're not going to read it in the interest of time. We're just going to read the people who became Silver and Golden today. I think that's manageable. Today's Golden Guardians, Rivka